Elimination Friday. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Real Kyper at noon. Nick Kypreos joining soon. Doug Maclean out of Summerside, PEI. Of course, he had the day off yesterday, so he'll be ready to go here. But what a night last night to set up. What do we call this? Freaky Friday? 6 elimination games. I don't think we've had that in the National Hockey League since, the mid-'80s. So teams on tap that have to win: the Preds, the Pens, the Leafs, Edmonton, Minnesota, and the Panthers. And for all you Leaf fans, I got to give you full marks for hanging in there time and time again. Say what you will when it comes to the Toronto Maple Leafs. You either love them or you hate them. If they win, if they lose, they are a huge story. They are, of course, the New York Yankees of the hockey world, right? They make the most money. They get the most attention. You want to talk about preferential treatment? How about 8 p.m. Eastern starts? You think they're going to start the Toronto Maple Leafs at noon like the Panthers and the Islanders? Not a chance. Everybody knows where the eyeballs are. And when you love them, it's a good thing for the Leaf Nation, of course. But there are so many of you that love to watch the Leafs in their misery. Yeah, we know who you are. And last night, you loved every second of it. Who doesn't, right? The richest organization, one of the top in the world, MLSE. What did they make last year? 200 million, 300 million when you put in the Raptors and merchandising? Yeah, they're loaded. That's what makes you feel a little better when you see them lose like that. And we saw it. Epic proportions again. No worse than 2013 with 10 minutes to go. They blow a 4-1 lead. The worst in playoff history. Then in 2018, you lose game 7. Jake Gardiner went, -4, -5. Called it one of the worst moments of his life. And then last night, 3-0. It's in the pocket. It's done. Shut the door. No. It's like watching. You see the accident on the side of the road. You're far away. You see the red lights, right? Then you get closer, and you're getting closer, and you're like, I don't want to look. Yeah, I got to look. I've been sitting here for an hour in traffic. I got to look. That was last night's game when you saw Pierre-Luc Dubois score a late goal in the second period. There was that feeling. Mac, Doug Maclean from Summerside, did you have that feeling, Mac, that, it ain't over?
I did not have that feeling. Look, when they made it 3-1, I was still comfortable. But when it went to 3-2, it was a completely different game. All of a sudden, Columbus go from not touching the puck for 2 periods to Toronto not touching the puck for the 3rd period. Like, what is up with that? I mean, then we get the timeout call. You think, okay, this will relax everybody, and it backfires. Look, I was a little confused with Keith after the game. He said he hated the way they played the first 2 periods. And I'm thinking, Toronto, I thought they played real well the first 2 periods.
I don't get that comment. And maybe it's a comment that he thinks can kind of cover himself so he can come off like he's pissed off, or that he read the tea leaves. And I didn't see it. I did not see it. I did not see it. And Mac, his comments were, I didn't like our game from the start. I'm like, come on.
No, I mean, what I liked about the first 2 periods is they were trying to be creative. They were getting the puck to the net. They were strong in the offensive zone. They weren't giving up a lot of chances. And then Marner's game started to really come for me. I thought he was their best forward, and I'm thinking, wow, Tavares is going okay. Matthews is playing great. Now Marner's got it going and was making some big plays and doing a great job 5-on-5, great job on the penalty kill. And I'm thinking, wow, if Marner's game really goes to another level, this is a piece of cake. I mean, I didn't think the Blue Jackets had a chance after 2 periods. I really didn't. And then all of a sudden, the Jones goal happens, and it's like a different team. It was like a switch and a different team. Columbus were much better, and Toronto disappeared. Unbelievable.
We know the matchup. We all gave Tortorella the edge over Sheldon Keefe with good reason. Come on. You look at Torts' record, his experience against a guy that's never been there before in a playoff scenario at the National Hockey League level. So we get that. But I can tell you, Mac, that I watched a couple of things that stood out for me with Sheldon Keefe. Okay. Number one was the late penalty kill with Barry in the box. And he has about 20 seconds to go with a face-off in their own zone. And he has Kerfoot out there and arrested Mitch Marner, who is their best penalty killer. And he does not go back to Marner. And I know Austin Matthews doesn't kill penalties, but all you need for 20 seconds a face-off win and the puck down.
Clear. That's all you need.
He leaves Kerfoot out there with Kapanen, I believe, and Kerfoot gets eaten up alive on the draw. Pierre-Luc Dubois beats him on the draw clean, and now they're scrambling, complete scramble. And no, it didn't end up being a power play goal because Barry did step out, and then it certainly played into a man advantage situation because Barry was lost. And there is the goal that the Leafs couldn't give up with under a minute or 2 minutes to go. That one broke. That one changed everything.
Totally.
And I thought that wasn't a great move by Keefe to have Marner still on the bench. And then you brought up the timeout. And I get it. You want to send a message, but you got to send that message with no timeout. Because all you did in that timeout is you gave Tortorella a chance to get Pierre-Luc Dubois and his line back out there fresh.
Totally.
Okay? And then you have him out there against Tavares. And you got to have Matthews and Marner out there against those guys, not Tavares. And the toe drag, how come nobody's talking about the toe drag of Tavares? I don't get that, okay? That is the worst timing on a toe drag you'll ever see in a hockey game.
Ever. And
not a word of it. Nobody talks about how bad of a turnover that is. Right. And hold on, just one more point, and I'll let you back in, I promise, okay? But this is where you want to take your analytics stuff every once in a while with your numbers. You know, if you looked at the official score sheet, I believe, and the NHL.com, I don't think Tavares got credited with a turnover on that play.
No.
Okay?
No. He should. He should get credit.
I just
get discredit.
What a high-risk play by Tavares. And then, Mac, then everybody starts cheating a little bit, and that's where I think Morgan Riley got caught, and Barry was flat-footed, and Pierre-Luc Dubois. Was that not Mark Messier type of performance? I mean, he didn't guarantee the win, but holy jeez, did he come out big.
And not only that, the shots and the moves. I mean, to score with the ease he scored at in overtime with that move, with that play, was superstar-like. And you know what? We know he's been in and out. Look, he's been a real good player since they selected him. And as Tortorella, who couldn't stop talking in the post press conference last night, says he knows he's good, but he wants to make him great. I love that. I mean, look, the kid had a hell of a game.
But Tortorella comes out.
Did he do anything for 2 periods? Or was it third period and overtime that he did everything?
Hey, Doesn't really matter at this
Doesn't
point, does
matter.
it?
I know one
Right?
thing. When it was on the line, when they made it 3-2, when the score went to 3-2 with Jones' goal, Pierre-Luc Dubois became a horse, and they couldn't stop him. And you know what? That's what makes great playoff performances. What he did in the third period, I'm serious. The first two periods, I was having trouble uh, saying any Blue Jacket, including Jones and Werenski, were playing to their potential. But I'll tell
They're
you what, in the third period, did they
yeah.
play?
If
Credit to them.
if
But what I honest to God, when it went to 3-3, I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, like, this is 3 years of watching this. Now, this is such a big time for this franchise, for this game tonight, to overcome this debacle. They had to get Babcock out of town because he couldn't get them over the hump, get them away from these type of performances. But now this is reminiscent of the lead in Boston that they
yeah,
blew.
it's up there.
When
It's up
Jeremy
there.
Jacobs left, when Jeremy Jacobs was so pissed off with his team, he left the building, and they come back and won.
There's no question that the Leaf fans feel this way, and now you got under 24 hours, like you said, to save this thing, or else this one will go down like 2013. No
Oh.
question about that. I want to just get back to Tortorella a
Well,
little bit.
it'll go down worse.
Yeah.
That was the Boston Bruins. This is a team that most people expected them to beat, although there was a lot of people, and us included, we didn't pick Columbus, but we thought Columbus were going
Well,
to give them one unbelievable scare. And all people thought Columbus were going to be real
well,
tough to
we
beat.
knew it would be interesting because it's the offense versus the defense,
Right. But
right?
not a 3-0 lead, Nick, in a game that really puts you over the top in a series.
So I just want to just touch on Tortorella a little bit because it's such a fine line, Mac. We saw the exchange between Pierre-Luc Dubois and Tortorella on the bench the other night, and you're on such a fine line as a coach, and you can speak of this more than anybody because you've been there. Is that it's a calculated risk. You hope that the player responds, but if he doesn't, then Tortorella, there's a better chance that you get rid of Tortorella before you would Pierre-Luc Dubois, and the decisions that he made, and of course the goaltending change, going to Merzlikins, and the way he played coming in, another reason why Tortorella ends up smelling like a rose coming out of this game. But
Well,
it could really go either way on these tough decisions, but you got to have the guts, you got to have the balls to make those decisions.
look, Merzlikins was the better goaltender in their training camp, and people were a little surprised that Korpisalo started. Well, Korpisalo had a lot of games last year. He really was their number one guy for the most part of the season. I didn't have trouble with that, but that was a great move. When he pulled him, there was no hesitation. It was third goal, you're out. Merzlikins comes in, wasn't really tested, but made some pretty solid saves and looked good. The Dubois thing is really interesting because what happens when you get into this situation and it turns out, and what happens with Dubois that he has this great game, and everybody said, well, it was Tortorella did it. 9 times out of 10, when the player's reading this stuff, he's saying, are you kidding me? You really think that conversation on the bench made me score 3 goals? Come on.
Yeah, you're right. You're
Come
right. You're
on.
right. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a fairy tale.
Hey.
Now, it looks great for Torts because
Oh
he said
no,
they
it
suck,
does.
and it looks good for him. And as a coach, take credit for it because you get criticized plenty, so take a little bit of credit for it for motivating the guy. But usually the player thinks when he reads the stuff today how it was such a he'll say BS on that. It was me getting a chance in the third period and me burying it or me doing so. I'm not buying it, but hey, Tortorella deserves full marks last night for the win.
It feels like it was an elimination game last night for Leaf fans.
I
But
know.
if you touched on this a little bit, if you base what we saw out of Columbus in game 1 and then the role reversal in game 2 where they were absolutely horrible. And then we had a little bit of both out of them in game 3. They looked they looked a lot like they did in game 2, and then they looked a lot like they looked in game 1. So, this to me is not necessarily over.
You know what? I looked at their blue line last night, and I feel sorry for this blue line because they, first of all, I don't see them as a Stanley Cup caliber blue line. I don't see them as a Stanley Cup caliber blue line. But when you lose Muzzin, when that game becomes 3-2, and you don't have Muzzin to put out there, you're in trouble on the bench. He's not the reason they lost the game. Not having Muzzin, but that's a tough loss.
Okay, you got to stop talking about the Leafs because we're going to get accused like we did on Hockey Central at noon for being too Leaf. Enough with the Leafs. I hear you out there.
Finish talking about the Blue Jackets.
Okay. One team that we did see get eliminated last night was the Winnipeg Jets and Calgary. Full marks to Calgary, but they needed to put this team away. There's just, I said this, if in fact they want, if Calgary ends up winning it in 5, we're going to look at them and go, why didn't you do it at 4? Like, what's wrong with you guys? No Scheifele, no Line, Appleton's out, players hurt. Come on. And they did what they were supposed to do, and that was, stomp on them when they're down and out.
A little bit of old time hockey. It starts off with Milan, the much maligned Milan Lucic, and you know what,
Nathan Beaulieu.
For Beaulieu to step up, full marks to him.
Okay.
But why would you do that when you're?
Then you don't get full marks. You don't get full marks because
he gets full marks for stepping up. But pick somebody else.
Why
pick him?
It pales in comparison to the bad decision. You cannot win that thing. Okay?
Well,
you cannot win.
To get lucky and win it,
you do not,
good.
Mac, when it's 3 games in 4 nights in the middle of stinking November, then you get full marks for trying to create something. But not in that scenario where the game hasn't even started. You're 0-0 and you're going against the toughest guy. Okay?
In fairness, they were desperate. This was mid-November. They were out of it. They were done. They were done. Give them credit for trying to at least ignite them a little bit.
You saw the way I played, okay?
Yeah.
And I ended up on a few bottom of the piles, but at least I was smart enough to know when I was starting to get in my career in the bottom of the pile, I said, no, I'm not. I'm out. Okay. I'm out. I'm not doing that again.
Where does this come from?
They were mentioning maybe warm up, maybe they had exchanged something at that point. I just think that there's just no way you're going to get any energy out of this situation with the toughest guy in the league. And he got ragdolled. The game hasn't even started, and you saw your player get ragdolled, and there's no energy to come out of that. You just had to know that showing up isn't enough. Optically, it was a bad look for Winnipeg to have a guy get ragdolled before the game even started. It plays right into Lucic.
Why not pick Dubé then? He was on the ice too.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously something happened.
Listen,
but you know what?
I know what you're saying about giving him credit and all of that, but it was not the right thing to do at that particular time.
Here's the only rationale for me is that they were done. They didn't believe they were coming back and winning this series, in my opinion. When you lose Scheifele, Line, and all of a sudden Talbot's outplaying your goaltender, who's a Vezina Trophy winner, and Talbot's had trouble the last couple of years, and he's outplaying the Vezina Trophy winner. You have no chance.
Okay, so what you're saying, to my point, it was desperate. It was a desperate move.
That's what it was.
And I don't know if you want to show that you're desperate when the puck hasn't even barely dropped to start the game. Like, why don't you read the tea leaves a little bit? Let's go 3, 4, 5 minutes, see where the energy goes. Maybe they're gonna have an off night. Maybe Talbot gets mishandles a puck behind the net. Let's just see where it goes before I go in to challenge the toughest guy in the league.
But losing the fight didn't cost them the game.
I know.
Losing that fight is not the reason
That's
they
a
lost
fair
the
comment.
game. They lost the game because they weren't deep enough and they weren't good enough at the end of the day.
I give you that. I'll give you that. And for the good news for Calgary, as you mentioned, Cam Talbot, all he did was come in, play a solid game, didn't let up bad goals, reliable, dependable. It wasn't a given who the Calgary was going to start in goal to start this thing, but it's clear whose net it is right now.
I have to give him full marks. I mean, we didn't see a stumble out of Talbot really in this entire series. I mean, Winnipeg won a game, but I mean, it wasn't Talbot. I mean, I've got to give him full marks. I mean, a year ago, this guy was scrambling. This guy was coming off a big contract. He had to take a backup job, in Philadelphia. He had to take a backup job in Calgary to get reestablished. He beats Riddick out in training camp. Obviously, they wanted to go with him. Obviously, Ward wanted to go with him. And full marks. He come out of this as one of the stars, as did the Lucic, Bennett, Dubé line. The third line became a real important line for them. And that's teams win series with their bottom six lots of times. Yeah. And that bottom six there was a critical part. Bennett comes through with big plays. Lucic comes through with
and Backlund's their number one line.
Dubé played real well as a 22-year-old. Lots of times those third line guys are real important. We saw that in Vancouver with a win the other night. A third line was important. But look, that's the problem. Everybody wants to talk top six in Toronto, riverboat hockey, but you need those type of warriors as well.
And we saw a good power play, and Monahan and Gaudreau, I think, have to feel better than any line out there, because now it's spread out. We're getting contributions other place. The heat isn't always on me, but they still have to get better. Gaudreau and Monahan still have to get better.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was a series, with Scheifele in line A. I had Winnipeg as the favorite in this series. We knew it was going to just be a unbelievable war. It would have been an unbelievable war with line A and Scheifele, but at least it would have been more competitive. To me, when those two guys were gone 5 minutes into game one, I thought the series was over. Obviously, neither one of them get a chance to come back. Devastating. I feel sorry for the Jets, to be quite honest, and I'm happy for the Flames to move on.
Yeah, and sometimes you hear names that you don't really recognize during the regular season step up, and it's always a great story. But I
love this Mangiapane kid.
Mangiapane. There you go. But how about this Gustafsson on the blue line, Mac? This guy is now their quarterback on the power play. It's not Giordano. It's not Brody. They picked this guy up
from Chicago
for a third-round pick at the deadline. Right. Now, I don't think I foresaw him coming in and being that guy at the blue line, but he is, and he does a nice job. And we saw it on the Dubé goal where he finds a way to get pucks through, and he's showing a little bit of some intelligence. I mean, he's never going to wow you, but all of a sudden that guy looks pretty dependable back there.
Picked for Bear and him at the deadline, one from LA, one from Chicago.
That was a good.
They lose. Tree Living picks those two defensemen up for depth guys. Gustafsson, I kind of liked in Chicago. Obviously, the veteran out of LA. So all of a sudden, they lose Hamonic. You lose a top four guy. Anderson has to slide up into the top four with Hannafin, and he did a good job for them. So, this wasn't without adversity for the Calgary Flames as well. And pressure like nobody's business on Monahan, on Gaudreau, on Lindholm after their debacle last year against Colorado. So lots of adversity to overcome there as well, and full marks to them.
Okay, let's keep going out west here, and Vancouver has a chance to eliminate the Minnesota Wild. Ryan Suter left game three at about 7 minutes left to go in the third period. Precautionary, or can we envision him not being at 100%?
I can't imagine him leaving for precautionary reasons. But you know what? I look at the Minnesota Wild, and they're playing with some energy. They're playing with some bite to their game. But Nick, you cannot take the number of penalties that this team is taking. Both teams, what was it, 13, 14 power plays in the game last night?
Yeah.
So you're playing hard-nosed hockey. You've got a new coach in Evason. You're trying to physically dominate the Vancouver Canucks. You're trying to go after Tanev. You're trying to go after Edler. Their forechecking was a physical forecheck. Minnesota have put out there with their big boys, the Greenway, Eck, and Foligno. I mean, they're pounding these guys. They're going after Quinn. But you can't take 7 and 8 penalties in a game.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work, you know?
But Vancouver, I look at Mott and his ability to kill penalties. Edler. I mean, they're a frustrated group, the Minnesota Wild, and all they got is Fiala, and that's it, Mac. They don't have anything else to generate much.
They haven't scored a 5-on-5 goal in this series. Not one 5-on-5 goal in the series. And they're 0 for 13 in their last 13 power plays. Those numbers, I don't need an analytics guy from Sportlogic to tell me that those are bad numbers. You know, I don't.
You're not subscribing? You're not subscribing?
I like the guys at Sportlogic, by the way, but I don't need their numbers when I see 0 for 13, 0 5-on-5 goals. I don't need it, you know. So there's something got to give here a little bit when one guy is scoring your goals and then you lose Suter. Suter doesn't, it's not precautionary. This guy's not a quitter. This guy's not going to leave the game unless he has to leave the game. So I don't know. And all of a sudden, Pettersson gets it going. I am loving watching Besser in the paint.
You know,
I'm loving watching this kid playing, and Quinn is unbelievable to me to watch.
So gifted. So gifted. It is, and it's like he's warming up a little bit again. 4.5 months off. This guy didn't sit on the couch. I can tell you that. He looks good.
I mean, he and Pettersson could. I love watching them play catch. Watch them play catch on the power play. Besser goes to the paint. He's such a horse down around the net. He gives those second efforts.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
you know,
JT Miller. I mean, their top six look really good right now. And
there's a lot of people that thought that if this played out as a heavy game, which Minnesota's trying so hard, Pettersson would have a tough time. But I will say this. He doesn't remotely look like the guy that got hit behind the net in Florida by Matheson. You remember that one?
The mauling.
Right? He looked like a bag of feathers back then. Yeah. He doesn't look like that anymore. He is not your 165-pound centerman anymore. Okay, this guy's probably he's looking at about 185, 190, and he's playing the part. I like. And
you know what?
He's got some edge to him, this kid.
I agree. And look, you bring in JT Miller and you put him with him, a veteran guy that's had success. You've got Besser, who's is a battler, like will do whatever, just a quality teammate. I mean, look, I just and Pettersson, to me, Pettersson and Quinn make it go. It's amazing how two great young kids can turn a franchise around.
Right.
And you know what they have?
That game is on tap at 10:45 Eastern. Vancouver Canucks.
So that's 11:45 for me, Nick.
Yeah, which means probably.
But Jill has discovered some great news that I didn't realize I had in PEI.
What's that? Coffee?
Florida.
Coffee?
No, it's called I can watch it later. I can replay it in the morning. So it's she sent me a text just as we're going on the hour. She said, I thought this would bring a smile to your face. I can get replays for you now. So
oh my God.
You know what? Just
good to
after
know.
40 years of marriage, she just doesn't stop surprising me with great
Loving
things.
you. Loving you. All right.
I didn't go there.
Okay. If Leaf Nation is screaming this morning, what is the City of Champions of Pittsburgh fans thinking tonight?
Oh, they're thinking that they went out 4 straight last year to the New York Islanders. And
Here we go again. Here we go again.
Worse than that.
Here we go again.
They cannot lose this series, can they?
Yes, they can.
I know they can, but can they really?
Yes. Yeah. And nobody saw it out there, and I was one of them. Absolutely. I just played it for its value straight up, and there's still no conceivable reason why Pittsburgh should lose to this team, except the game's played on the ice, not on a lineup card. So
you know what, Nick? We looked at it and we said, just a minute. Dano, Suzuki, Kokiniemi versus Crosby, Malkin, McCann. We said that alone is a disturbing matchup. Well, Kokiniemi has been very, very good. Suzuki has been unbelievable. Yeah. And Dano has been Dano.
And they're
hard
just
to believe.
And they're just smarter. And we talked about this, and we will talk about it for a lot longer, is that if you are sound defensively, it's easier to stay within that and not have to feel the pressure of trying to score. And that's what's going on here. I watch Pittsburgh now, and they're not sound defensively at all. And when you're up 3-1, and then you let in that gimme, that tap-in putt for Jonathan Drouin in front of the net, and you're just standing there doing nothing, then you're not putting yourself in a position to compete or win. And that's it. That's it in a nutshell. They are so loose defensively, Mac. It's got to be driving Sullivan nuts.
We talked before the series that Price was going to be very good and was going to give if there was any chance he would steal it for them. Well, he has done his job. He has dominated Murray on the other end. I mean, do you go with Jarry tonight? Like, how do you not consider? We talked about giving Tortorella credit for making his switch with Merlikins, which was a great move. Do they not have to come away from Murray tonight and go with Jarry to try to?
I'll be shocked.
As a wake-up call.
I will.
And you know what? So that has been a real problem for them. But the other thing is, we talked about Weber and Sherratt going into this series as being a real good shutdown pair. We didn't talk as much about Petrie and Kulak, who have also been very, very good for the Montreal Canadiens. So they've gotten some great play. Petrie is coming off a good season, but Kulak has been very solid for them. Their top 4 has been better than Pittsburgh's top 4.
Non-existent Pittsburgh's.
Exactly. So, you know what?
Letang. Where is Letang to lead the charge here?
He hasn't been there. I mean, he's been okay. He's been okay, but he hasn't. Marino is one of their best defensemen. And this is a kid that's come out of Harvard, like a 4th or 5th round pick of the Edmonton Oilers that they signed, that they ended up getting in a deal or however, and he's their best defenseman. Like, it's not good right now. But full marks to the Habs, boy. I'll tell you what, I'm giving them full marks, and it starts with the guy in the pipes.
And then all of a sudden we're seeing it's almost like Seth Jones and Werenski jumping up on the play with Petrie and Weber. How many times have we seen in the last few games Petrie and Weber pick their spots, both having goals? 3 points for Weber.
The same thing is happening that happened with us at Hockey Central at noon. The coaches have this show in their dressing room, and he has made the decision he's going with Jarry tonight. Sullivan, listen to us. One of
the beauties of live streaming here is that we can tell you now that Tristan Jarry is confirmed to start this hockey game. So he's an all-star. He's feeling it. He's felt it all year. I think this will be definitely the play in favor of Pittsburgh feeling a little better going into this game. They lost confidence in Murray. When you go short side, Petrie, hey, great, second game winning goal, full marks on you. But when you score 4 feet off the line and then you go into that stupid V reverse crap, now you can never score from there. Never.
I mean, look, so Sullivan is ticked off, so he's sending a message to everybody. So it'll be interesting. But I mean, Malkin has got to be better too. They've had such amazing careers, Sid and Malkin and Letang. It's hard to be critical, but tonight will be the night. Tonight will be the night that we'll see. After going out 4 straight last year, we'll see.
All right, where do you want to go? Edmonton and Chicago. You watch Taves' career, Mac, and you just go, yeah, one of the best players, modern day best player. And then there's this series, and when, much like any underdog that we've seen, including one we just talked about in Montreal, this guy finds a way to take it to another level. I've even got even more respect for Jonathan Taves watching him in this series than I did before, and I already had him at a very high place.
I think back, and I've been going back looking at drafts, and I think back to watching Jonathan Taves as an underage with the World Junior, being at North Dakota, and I'll never forget sitting at the draft table in Vancouver, me with the 6th pick of the draft, and watching Eric Johnson go 1, Jordan Stahl go 2, Taves go 3. I puked when I saw he went 3. Then I saw Backstrom go 4, and I gagged when he went 4.
Yeah.
And then I thought, okay, I'm going to get Kessel or Brassard. Those were our next 2 guys on our list. Kessel goes, and then I end up with Brassard. And Derek's had a really good career. He's had a really good career. But why the hell did I not get Taves? What happened? Or Backstrom?
You wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be here talking to me through your telephone.
Oh my God.
Mobile phone.
Every time but anyway, that's fun.
You're better off here with me anyways than still coaching
I know.
And making $6 million like Joel in Florida.
Yeah. And you know what? Joel, don't kid yourself. Joel making 6 is a direct result of Taves, Kane, and Keith.
Okay.
By the way, I was looking at Duncan Keith the other day. Billy Lezouk was the scout who drafted Duncan Keith, and he had a major fight with his staff at the table. I'm taking Duncan Keith from Michigan. Michigan or Michigan State. I'm taking this kid. They said, you can't take a little 5'7" defenseman. I'm taking him. Mike Smith was a GM, and Billy Lezouk. I talked to Billy the other day, and he said, "Oh my God, what is it? One of his greatest picks ever." So funny.
Speaking
Second
of
round pick.
Speaking of 5'7" or 5'9", we watched this Kirby doc. Okay, and I got to look him up. I'm like, 3rd pick overall.
Oh yeah, horse.
3rd pick overall.
And
so we see Jack Hughes go to New Jersey. Capo goes to the Rangers. And nobody's talking Kirby Doc at 3rd pick overall. And now I'm watching him, and Colleton's got him with the most ice time. And it's like, I get it. Now, a lot of talk about, the last 4.5 months, the guy worked hard. He got a trainer, yada, yada. He is a difference maker. I watch him go up against Tyler Ennis at 5'9" against this guy at 6'4". And all I saw was a big fish eat a little fish. And that's why when you go to the draft, the guy that puts his neck on the line for the 5'9" or 5'10" guy will always be questioned because of watching what Doc did to Tyler Ennis in a meaningful playoff game.
Unless his name's Patrick Kane, and then we'll let those slip through.
But you still worry.
I know. but you know what? He's become a real important player. And all of a sudden, we got a veteran Chicago team that right today is the youngest team in the NHL. I think their average. I mean, I saw the other day they are the youngest team. Now we know they've got 5 veterans that have been Stanley Cup winners and important leaders, but they are a young group there with their Brink and Dog and some of these guys. I mean, Strome's still a young guy. I mean, they're a pretty young group back there.
Can Tippett clean them up defensively?
Tippett has the same problem that Keith has in Toronto. They're clones, the two teams. They want to play run and gun. They want to play loose. They want to play riverboat hockey. And I'm sorry, they should win this game. They shouldn't lose to Chicago. But if you don't want to play playoff hockey and you don't want to play in the trenches and you don't want to do all the dirty things that you have to do to win.
Yeah.
It's there for the taking, because I'm sorry, riverboat hockey doesn't work.
And that's why a team like Montreal now can do that, is because no one is cheating. No one. You can't play. You can't play. So if you call it boring hockey, if you call it not committed to entertain, whatever, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. All the coaches care about is a W, and
Nick,
that's where I think Edmonton and Toronto still have to figure it out here.
So tell me, when you look at the top group of the teams that are playing in this goofy round robin thing, whatever they're doing there, that group that group of teams, do any of those teams play like the Edmonton Oilers or Toronto Maple Leafs?
Yeah,
5-on-5. Any of them?
No, they're top teams. They're top teams.
They don't
and I
play
think
like that.
There's just more balance right now coming out of it.
Play a 2-on. They play a 5-on-5 game at both ends of the rink. They play it offensively, but defense is still a critical part. So if Edmonton and Toronto want to play riverboat hockey, you may win. You may get lucky once in a while, but consistently, I'm sorry.
Okay, Mac, we're getting up towards the top of the hour. A ton of games. It's going to be so much fun this Friday. Elimination Friday, we're calling it here on the Real Kyper at Noon show. Myself, Doug Maclean, here on board. I want to get into just a couple of topics here, including the Preds and Arizona. Now, is David Poyle's group in trouble here?
You know, Nick, I have to be honest with you. If you make me watch that series, I'm quitting. So I haven't seen 5 minutes of that series.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, I don't.
Yeah, they're in trouble.
I don't think.
Without watching a minute. I'm
going to ask you a question that doesn't matter. Well, it does matter, because there was a very bad offside that Matt Duchene had the other night that many think that could have cost him this series. Preds could have gone up 2-1 in the third, early in the third, I think. And he goes offside. And the expression on his face, Mac, you should have seen it. It was crushing to him. It was almost as if I know what I just did. Yeah. And I think they're calling now for Matt Duchene to be benched here. He's coming off of an 8-year, 7-year, $56 million contract. It's just the start here, and they're calling having him benched. Well, what do you do at that point? You got to go with him. You got to give him a chance to dig himself out.
If you don't, when you're in a do or die situation, and trust me, David Poyle as well as I know David Poyle. This will be a crushing defeat for this organization. If you fire Laviolette down the stretch, you bring in Hines. You think that this is going to be a team that's got to do some damage. You've got Duchene on a long-term deal. You've got Turris on a deal. You've got your group is aging slightly. This is a crushing loss. you're not going to if you're Hines, you're going to bench a guy that your general manager just gave $57 million to. I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't
No,
think so.
like Florida, you got to stick with Bobrovsky. You got to stick with Matt Duchene. Okay. We're coming close here, folks. We're going to start it off at noon today, the Islanders and Panthers. Hey, how about the Islanders and Panthers? Can they play other than noon once? Does that not scream to you? And nobody really wants to watch you, so we're going to stick you in this 12 noon slot.
You know what I told you, that you couldn't pay me enough to watch Arizona? I have watched some of this series. I have. And you know what? I full marks to the Panthers for coming back and battling, and Bobrovsky getting a win. But so you know what?
You think he can extend it? Bobrovsky, we went through this. We know Bobrovsky's talented enough to win this series and maybe even win 2 series. That's how talented he is.
Yeah, he is.
But you can't trust him.
I trust Barkov. But I just don't trust the team that's with him to get it done. But like the guy said yesterday on a tweet, whoever this guy is, anyway, he said, Maclean goes 0 for 4 last night, and you let him play golf. So if you notice, I've been hedging my bets today on
gosh,
or Blitzbook or
blitzbet.eu.
Blitzbet.
Blitzbet.eu would be broke right now if you were handicapping the games.
Listen, I can say Maggiapiani wrong, but I can't say Blitzbet wrong.
Hey, did you know today our producer, who's done a fabulous job to start off my new broadcast career here at Real Kyper at noon on linemovement.com. It's his
Michael
birthday.
You're talking about?
No, it's Jordan's birthday today.
Oh, Jordan.
Yes. Jordan, are you out there?
I'm here, buddy.
Birthday is it, Jordan?
I just turned 29 today, unfortunately.
29.
I know.
Now, is that a real 29 or is it the Doug Maclean fake 29?
I think if that was the Doug Maclean 29, I would say like 36 or something, right?
Well, happy birthday.
You're 30. I'm 30 years older than you, Jordan.
Yeah. I would have said 27 at the most, man. That's what I would have said. 27 at the most.
Well, listen, fabulous job so far steering Mac and I in the right direction. Really appreciate your efforts. And Joe Holka, you're out there somewhere, buddy. Terrific job so far. We're having so much fun. You guys are a big part of it. And I got Michael Bannock Jr. here helping me out. It's awesome.
And I've got nobody here.
No,
we're here for you, Doug.
What you have is a golf game. Now, if I was to ask you, like we tell our loyal followers to hit the like button, right?
Yeah, have they yet?
If I had a YouTube channel on your golf game yesterday, would I hit would I smash the like button?
I played Eagles Glen yesterday with son Clark and Jill, and I hit the ball really, really well.
Yeah, in the woods.
But I 3-putted. I 3-putted 5 greens. We only played 9 holes. I ended with a 47. The devastating part was Jill had a 45, I think, and Clark had a 41. I don't mind Clark's 41. Jill's 45 bothered me a lot, you know?
Okay, listen. I'm going to give you another shot here. You're not going 0-4.
Oh.
Okay, you're better than that. You're better than that.
First. No, you pick first.
I want
hey, as vice president of hockey ops.
Okay.
You're going first.
I'm going Preds out. I'm going Pens extend. I'm going Toronto extends. I'm going Edmonton out. I'm going Mini out. And I'm going Panthers extend. You go. Preds.
So I'm going, give me the series. You call the series. So I got it. So I've got Nashville extend.
Okay, you got Nashville extend. Okay. Yeah. Islanders, Panthers.
I got Islanders win it.
Panthers out. Okay. You got the Pens extending or the Canadiens shocking the hockey world?
I got the Pens extending.
All right. Blackhawks, Oilers.
I've got the Oilers extending.
Oh, very nice. And then you'll take the Canucks over the Wild because
Yes.
you're not that dumb.
Yeah, Canucks over the Wild. Yeah.
Okay. And
If I go over in this one, as Jill said this morning, we're just we're doing a few things around. She said it's making you really look dumb.
You don't need predictions to do that. You do that every day on your own.
By the way, my afternoon with my big brother was fun yesterday.
Good. What did he do?
We went to the park.
Is there you went to the golf course? That's what you did.
We went to the park in the afternoon. Yeah.
Oh, I bet you can't wait for next Thursday. And you have where did we leave you with your Columbus Blue Jackets? In or out?
I've got Toronto extending.
You do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that'll be fun. Okay, Mac, where are you watching the games from? Your office where you're going to sell condos?
No, I'm going to watch the early games at home. Then we have a dinner engagement tonight with friends. And then I'm going to watch them in the morning, replay a couple of them. And then we're heading up to Mill River Resort. Don McDougall, who used to be the president of the started the Toronto Blue Jays. He has this resort in Prince Edward Island called Mill River. We're heading up there and spend the night and playing a couple of rounds of golf at Mill River Resort. So it's going to be kind of a nice weekend.
There is a chance. I know it's a slight one, but there is a chance if you don't open up the second bottle of wine that you can stay up for the Canucks and the Wild.
I might, I might try it because I got, I stayed up last night till the end of overtime, and then I was up early today watching watching the highlights. But anyway.
Okay, I'll let you go, pal.
Hey,
thanks for doing this.
Thanks. Have a great weekend.
Enjoy.
Jordan, have
a great
birthday, man.
Happy birthday, buddy. And
Thanks,
you
guys.
get to have that
guys.
second bottle of wine tonight, not Doug.
Yeah, I'll be asleep by 11:45 as well. I can promise you that.
Okay, everybody. I hope you've enjoyed our last hour. I think we've got you ready and prepared. Certainly, you're going to have a lot to look forward to in terms of maybe key parts to the game. Mac did a terrific job. We're here all week. We're going to have a great weekend here, and we'll get her going again on Monday. For Nick Kypreos, Doug Maclean, our birthday boy, Jordan, Joe, Michael Bannock Jr. here. Have a terrific weekend. Be safe, and we'll see you Monday. And by the way, if you liked what you watched and you haven't subscribed, hey, we're here. We're going to be here a lot here, okay? So hit your rating and review on Apple Podcast. And